Hey everyone, it's Michael Zapersky here, and today I'm with Dan Rockwell. Dan, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here, Michael.
So Dan, yeah, I'm excited for this conversation. You're the author and owner of Leadership Freak, which is a great name, but you do leadership coaching and run your training business. Your work has been featured in Inc. magazine. I think you're a top 50 leadership and management expert. You've written for American Marketing Association, Deloitte Leadership Academy, Huffington Post, a whole bunch more that we're not going to spend time naming here because there's too many of them. But let's talk about your blog, because it seems that a lot of success, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong here, but a lot of what you're known for, or where people find you, is through your blog. So just share with us for a minute, what kind of impact has your blog had on your career?
Well, it totally changed my life, our life. I just said to my wife the other day, I said, I think writers would love to make money writing. And in the end, everything that I'm doing comes from that. I started 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I had no plan. I did not use it as a business tool. I wasn't writing so I could get speaking engagements, but about a year and a half in, I got my first speaking engagement, and it's all history since then.
So we're not going to let you off the hook that easily. I want to dive deeper into that. So, you started writing, but there's people out there that also write and don't necessarily see much traction from it. Why do you think that your work specifically led to then people reaching out to you? I mean, what were you doing to promote it, if anything at all?
Right. Well, I started the writing thing. I think I got on Twitter approximately the same time. I didn't, I was just experimenting, right? So I didn't really have a plan, but why did the traction happen? And I'm not exactly sure, but I can tell you that there are two or three things that people mention to me, a couple of things anyway. One is it's brief. And there's a reason why it's brief. And so it's kind of cool. People say, I love to read your blog. It's short. It's not like, I love to read your blog. You're such a great author. You put together words so wonderfully. No, they never do that for me.
Well, they probably think that. They just don't say it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's brief. And it's brief because really everything you see on the page is for me. I'm writing for me. I write what I want to write on the page is what I want to see. I never think about, gee, I wonder what the people in the health sector would like to see here. So I have a short attention span. I do not like reading long articles, especially online. I mean, I can, paper, we were just talking about books before we got on. Paper's fine, but online, I don't want long articles. And so I write briefly because I want to read briefly. So I do that for me.
And when you say that you're writing for yourself, tell me a little bit more about that. Like, do you mean that the actual words that you're putting on paper, that you're doing that for yourself, or is it just you're just kind of thinking about what would you like to read?
I'm doing it mostly for myself. Now, when I say that, I don't mean what I would like to read. I mean, it's either a form of expression, like, and I love to write frustrated. So, there's a problem somewhere. I just had a conversation with a leader and, something's going wrong in the organization. And sometimes coaching clients will send me a note and say, I see myself in that one. And that's awesome. Nobody knows who it is. And I'm always protecting people's identity. But so I write to solve my own problems, to solve things that are bugging me. I love to get up in the morning. And I'm trying to do it more the day before now, but I love to get up in the morning, put my hands on the keyboard and have something that I'm angry about. Now, you don't publish the anger, right? The anger is just the fuel. What I'll do is sometimes I'm using the I voice, right? So when I first write, it's I, but I always turn that around to you. I just want to shift the focus. And the anger stays here and the solution and kind of the process goes out. So I'm frustrated with something, but I don't want to read some raging maniac. You know what I mean?
Right. So some people might, but yeah, most people don't. So, I think what's interesting also you mentioned is that your posts are quite short, right? I think 300 words or less. Reminds you a little bit of Seth Godin in terms of his very short, succinct, to the point posts that obviously has great traction and a very strong following. How many website visitors do you receive roughly per month?
Well, that's a great question. I haven't checked for a while, but unique visitors would be somewhere around 75,000 to 100,000, something like that. Unique visitors.
Yeah, because I think that from our research here, you have over 400,000 people on your email list. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's not the email list exclusively, but the subscribers, and there's a different kinds of subscribers and that kind of
Got you.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing this up because, there's things like vanity metrics. People throw out big numbers and what do those numbers really mean? But
Right.
the reason why I'm mentioning this is because a lot of people these days will tell you, you need to write thinking about Google and the search engines and search engine optimization. You strike me as the kind of person that probably isn't thinking too much about the different words to use to be ranked higher, and you're certainly not writing for length, which is something that Google is known for really appreciating or giving more favor to. Yet you're getting a lot of inbound visitors and building your list. Any thoughts about that specifically?
Yes, good question. And I don't. I do know about keywords, and I do know how to search for Google on like what people are looking for. And but really for years I never thought about it at all. I'll
Mm.
tell you that I by accident was using a title, and then the language in the blog post matched the title, and I understand that's good, but I need to get 500 words or more,
Right.
to really get Google's attention. I did make a change recently within, I guess, the last year or so that I think helped, and that is I started linking out more.
Mm.
I didn't link out. And so now I'm putting at the bottom added resources or in the blog post, and I'm linking off my site. And I noticed an uptick, and I'm not sure, but I think maybe, maybe you can tell me, but I
Yeah,
think Google likes it.
right. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some people who believe that linking out to trusted sources can help with your search engine optimization. So that certainly can be the case. I'm not an SEO expert by any means, and we like to write for humans, not for robots and things of
Exactly.
that nature. But so you've been writing for 10 plus years, right? You've built up this very large following. And to me, I mean, that really resonates because Consulting Success has now been around about 11 years. We started very similar, just writing content, not really thinking too much about monetization. We just kind of wanted to put stuff out there. Um, what does your schedule look like when it comes to writing or your approach? And I'm thinking because there's a lot of people out there who would deep down inside, they know they should be maybe writing more, creating more content, but they don't. So maybe first of all, what would you say to those people who they are experts, they have a lot of experience, they can really add a lot of value, they can help people, but there's something holding them back from not actually creating content. And even if they do, it's not consistent. And here you are 10 years in, consistently creating content. What would you say to those people who are maybe on the fence or just haven't really committed to it fully yet?
Give up on perfection. I think part of the problem with all of us is
Yeah.
we just keep, perfecting. And I made a commitment to myself that I would write every, 5 days a week that first year. I had no idea what that meant, but it meant that I had to get something out every day. So now I have a basic kind of deadline, right? My best deadline is 7. My latest deadline is 9 a.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it out there. And I wasn't even having anybody else read it. It was having grammar errors and everything. My wife is really good, and now she reads these, which means I used to write in the morning and post in the morning, and I still do write in the morning, but sometimes the post would have been finished the day before. But I really like that short timeline, the pressure. I'm going to do this. So give up on perfection and just start putting it out there.
Yeah.
Someone asked me one time, are you concerned that you're going to contradict yourself? And I said, well, I hope I do. I mean, over 5 or 10 years, I hope I change my mind on something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right. Or some people, well, what if I say the same thing or, I cover the same point? Well, we should be talking principles, not always creating new ideas. So, all right. You mentioned then a little bit about your schedule, right? You're focusing on between Monday to Friday, one piece of content, ideally done by 7, if not by 9. What does your approach look like? A lot of people would, look at the screen and go, I don't even know what to write about. So how are you coming up with ideas to create the content that you then, sit down and bang out?
Right. I've never had a problem with ideas. I have a short attention span, and I have lots of ideas. I'm just looking here.
Yeah.
I just start, I have a gazillion starts, and I just brought it up. I don't see you anymore, but it says last words express first priorities. And now I have like 5 questions. What do I want to have said at the end of the day? What do I want to say at the end of a meeting? What do I want to say at the end of a one-on-one? I have no idea. I mean, that might be tomorrow's post. I may never use that, but I got a gazillion of these little things. And
where do you capture them? The ideas?
uh, uh, you mean like where do they originally come from?
No, well, that's even a deeper question. I just meant more like, are you using like Evernote, or how are you kind of, pen to paper? How are you capturing these ideas as they come to you?
Right. If I'm walking, I'm doing a audio note with my cell phone. I use Word, and I have 2 files. One is potential posts and one is actual posts. So if I happen to get up in the morning and I'm not sure what I want to write about, I can always go there. There's a gazillion of them there. Sometimes, by the way, when you look at them, it's like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I have those where I take notes and I don't even know what I was writing. Like I can't comprehend what I was trying to say, but maybe it'll come back to me in the future. It's okay. So you're kind of noting something down, and have you found, Dan, as well, that once you start to commit to publishing consistently, that the ideas that before maybe you thought like, what would I write about and how could I keep it up, that there's just ideas everywhere. Like you're never running out of new ideas because you're always thinking of things. Is that true for you as well?
Absolutely, because I know tomorrow morning I want to post something. It's always on my mind. I have a coaching call. I just had a call with a client before we got on. I don't know if I'll use anything from it, but there's a lot of fodder. There's a lot of things going on, and I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, amazing. So now that let's say you've sat down, you've banged out that piece of content, what do you now do to promote it? Is there, I mean, you have obviously hundreds of thousands of people that are kind of following you in your email list and so forth, but walk us through, what are you doing to drive people to, to view and consume that content?
Right. Well, obviously there's the people who have subscribed. So they're going to get this in email. I have email subscribers. I have WordPress subscribers. There are 2 different kinds, but they're going to get it that way. So I'm using a tool called Meet Edgar. And
Yep.
Meet Edgar, you're familiar with Meet Edgar?
I am, yeah.
Love it. Love it.
But for everyone who's listening or watching that doesn't know, just describe what it does.
So Meet Edgar will manage my social media posts. So I'm posting to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Twitter is the main, I put much more content out on Twitter. I'm posting like maybe 2 or 3 times a day on the other channels. But Meet Edgar, I put the content in, I label it, it gets scheduled. And so it's all my content, but I'm not there all the time, having to put it out. So, and that has been a great asset.
And are you doing all that yourself, or someone helping you with that?
I'm doing that. Everything you see, I'm doing. So like the content, except for, like I said, the editing of a post for grammar or for spelling or whatever, somebody else is doing that. But other than that, the pictures, I take the pictures, I get them from a place that doesn't require attribution, and I use PowerPoint. So this is how technically agile I am. I use PowerPoint. I write on the picture, and then you can save it as a JPEG. And I save the whole thing as a JPEG and put it on there myself. So, but I just want everything out there for me. I want it to be what I want to see. You know what I mean? I have I want the headings. Everything there is like, the headings, for example. I don't read a web page. I scan it to see if I want to read it.
Right.
So I know people do that. So I want people to go to my website and be able to scan. That's why you get all the headings and the quotes and things. So you can say, that's not interesting to me. I'm not trying to get you to stay. I'm trying to bring you value. And if you stay for that, that's fantastic. But if it's not valuable, go somewhere else.
So at this point, 10 years in, you have a blog that creates opportunities for you, right? Coaching clients and so forth. Before that, what were you doing? Before the blog was up and running, what were you doing to kind of grow the business or create conversations with buyers?
I was not working for myself at the time. I spent 15 years as a workforce development consultant at the local Penn State affiliate here. Now that was a staff position. That was not, an external consultant, but I did a lot of training, I worked with companies in the community, did staff development for the college, hired people and all that. So that was the stepping stone. And then I started writing, and then
So you started writing while you were still working your job before you went out and kind of as an independent, coach, trainer, consultant, so forth.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. And now, do you do anything else aside from writing on your blog to create business?
Yes, my original life, I guess, way back is I went off. I have a degree in theology, and I've always been involved in church ministry. And
Mm,
so church ministry has been part of my life all my life. So that's
yeah.
still part of what I'm doing.
Got you. Okay. So let's talk then. I want to shift from, really about the writing and the content, the authority building and that whole side into the work that you're doing, which is leadership coaching and training and so forth. Um, Leadership is interesting because it's so broad, right? I mean, and there's so many people who say, yeah, I'm a leadership coach or I'm a leadership consultant, but to you, what does leadership truly mean? What should people be thinking about when they think about leadership itself?
Well, I'm going to come at this from an individual point of view,
Okay.
right? So you can have organizational leadership, you can have, things that deal with strategy and all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy who will want to talk to a leader, a person, and develop them so that then they can be effective in whatever they're doing. That's going to be my focus, right?
Mm,
The foundations are servant leadership and character and humility and curiosity, and I will sometimes teach coaching skills. It just depends on the person, but my focus, I work with teams and I work with leaders, but it seems like it's almost always a very similar focus, and that's learning how to connect, relationships, being effective,
mm.
setting priorities, giving feed, some of these
Yeah.
skill-based things.
Let me ask you this, Dan. When you look at, you've worked with a lot of people over the years. When you look at those who you feel are the most successful, and I don't mean only financially successful, but you look at them and they're good people. They're making a real impact, but they're also successful from a financial perspective and a career perspective, or a business building perspective. What are the common traits or characteristics or beliefs or principles that you would say that they've done very well, or just that they are using, which really is what creates a success for them?
It's an interesting question. I feel like maybe they don't have a real need to succeed and be in front of people, and they don't have a lot of that. They have a real drive to serve, a real drive to bring value to people. They have a sense of generosity, and
Hmm.
some of them grapple with this. Don't get me wrong. This is not like a magic formula,
Sure.
because you have an aspiration for yourself, and sometimes if someone outshines you, for example, you got to grapple with that.
Hmm.
But I definitely see generosity in the people that I'm working with as a big one. And sometimes they'll come to me because I'm really good with curiosity and questions and coaching, and they want to expand their influence with their team.
And when you sit down with a new client, what's typically the first thing that you're doing with them?
So I'm going to send them a coaching profile. That's going to give me, 5 or 6 pages of stuff, and what assessments have you taken, and we're going to debrief, and they're going to. It's a pretty typical approach in that you want to clarify their expectations, and if we succeed, what is that going to look like?
Hmm.
Because you're trying to manage the expectation of the client, right, and make sure that they're seeing value,
Yeah.
because you can do things for them that they don't value, and then it's like then you lost a client.
Right. Got it. In the last 6 to 12 months or so, what would you say is one thing that you've found, you kind of discovered that you've implemented into your own business, into your own kind of body of work that's had a big impact for you?
Well, I always have felt like coaching was I think coaching is a lot about curiosity and forward-facing questions. Okay,
Hmm.
so coaching is not therapy, right? I'm not going to go. We're gonna move forward, and banter and advising and like kind of saying like what I think and all of those kind of things. It's taken me quite a while to become comfortable with that.
Mm,
And I am finding that people do enjoy hearing what someone else thinks. They value my opinion. They know I've talked to a lot of leaders, and
right.
they're kind of curious. So that I think there's been a move to include a little banter in the sense of I can be a machine gun with questions, and
Right.
that's not always the best.
So
right?
what I'm hearing you say is that maybe previously the old Dan would have asked more questions, let the client do a lot more of the talking because you were kind of trying to draw it out and helping them to see things without you telling them things. But now the shift that you found is that at the appropriate time, if you can jump in and actually share something or a best practice or maybe a different way of thinking or something that's worked for someone else's story that would be helpful in maybe allowing that client to kind of reach clarity or to make greater progress faster, then you're now starting to do that. Is that accurate?
I think that's pretty close. Sometimes I'll just say, would you like me to coach you? Would you like advice? Would you like me to listen? So
Mm,
the client is still, I want the client to be in the driver's seat.
yeah.
Mentoring, I do a little bit of mentoring. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm going to take us where where you want to go, but I'm going to kind of do it my way. Mentoring is a little different for me. But in the coaching relationship, yeah, I want to let you be in the driver's seat. And so you can tell me. And I'm constantly checking with my clients is like, well, how's the ratio of, curiosity to advice? How's that going for you? What's really working? So they can still be in control of the conversation.
And so you ask that at almost every kind of coaching session or every once a quarter, or how frequently you say that you're kind of trying to keep a pulse on that?
Yeah, early on, I'm going to do it a little bit more. For example, I'm going to have a second call tomorrow with a new customer, a new client,
Yeah.
and one of the first things I'm going to ask is talk to me about the ratio of question to advising or suggestion that we had in our first call. What
Right.
felt good to you? So I'm going to do that regularly. I'm going to start the conversation by saying, if this conversation is a fantastic conversation, what will happen? And again, I'm serving them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely. Well, Dan, thank you so much for coming on here today. I really appreciate your insights and especially some of the story of how you got to where you are and what you've been doing with your blog. I hope that encourages others to commit to putting out their content, whether that's in written form or it's in audio or video. You can make a greater impact by putting it out there. So you're a very good role model for that. So I really appreciate that you coming on, Dan. I also want to make sure that people can learn more about your work and see it firsthand. So where's the best place for them to go?
They can send an email to Dan@Leadership Freak, or I'm very fortunate, if you go to Google and type in Leadership Freak, you're probably going to find me.
Yeah. There aren't too many leadership freaks. Well, actually, maybe there are, Dan. But anyways,
There
you
are.
you you own it. So there you go. You are the official leadership freak.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Thank you.